There we go. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for joining me here. On this quick call here. Let's see.
All
How
right, I
can I
got
help
your
you today, my friend?
doing well. Just swallowing a bite to eat here.
No worries, no worries. Good stuff, good stuff. Yeah, I saw your property, man. It's pretty good. That's these are all Toronto properties, by the way.
All Toronto. The performers don't work elsewhere. The rents are too low outside of the city.
Rents are too low, restrictions are too high. Like, yeah. And you don't get as much density on a lot as of right. So it's just
Exactly. Yeah. So we
makes
were
sense.
thinking of the double lot with two sixes. Um,
hmm
I love your triple idea. Holy smokes. That's
Yeah, yeah. The triple idea is also as of right, that's but it just sorry, 1 second here.
no problem.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah,
So
it just doesn't allow for us so no garden suites.
you know what? I don't want to build the garden suites anyways, to be honest
Yeah,
with you. They're so expensive and there's so much extra work to do.
yeah. So here's the thing so you would be allowed to do 6 units and up to 6 units in the main house. However, in a semi, it's just more challenging, as you can imagine, right? Like you need to find those areas to put the stairs, and the property will become a slice because we have no laneway and we have to create that 1 meter setback on the one side, right? So that's where the challenge is going to become. And the only how I would really suggest that that be done is that we submit an alternate solution application to the CBO and get that approved. And what that would essentially entail, what I would be suggesting to you is that we either sprinkle the house and use negative pressure in a single staircase application, right? So,
One staircase for the whole 10 for the whole 12 units?
well, for six and
Oh,
six.
for the six. Yeah, yeah, yeah. One staircase for sure. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
that's so that would be only way you'd be able to make sense of that, right? Because the lot would be too small to have two staircases. The building would be like
Well, we would
60% efficiency, right?
so you don't think we could do a second egress is what you're saying?
Yeah, the second egress is going to be quite challenging. It's doable with a second egress staircase. We can do it, but it just means that you may not be able to get 6 units. You
Can
may
we
get
just do the
three or
second
four.
staircase on the back of the building exterior instead of interior?
No, so we won't be able to do it exterior. It would have to be within the building.
Why?
That's a building code requirement.
I have some of our partners did exterior staircases for their second staircase.
Yeah, if you're doing a renovation.
No, no, brand new build, recent
Mhm.
this year.
Yeah.
Exterior staircase on the, maybe they went to COA for it. Is that possible?
It's possible they may have and you won't go to COA for that. They probably had an alternate solution application by the CBO that was approved separately, but it's a code requirement. So those exterior staircases, that is actually called an escape stairs, technically.
Yeah,
From the
yeah,
building
yeah.
code, is an escape stair, and escape stairs are not allowed at like on a new build. Like it's just not allowed.
I'll have to find out what they did for that because
Yeah.
I've been to their property. They're building it brand new. They're 1000% having exterior staircase on the rear.
Hmm.
So I'll try and find out what they were doing.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know what it is,
Yeah,
what their workaround was. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. These guys are smart. They've been doing this for a little while. Sorry.
Listen.
And so thank you. So Mace, can you grab her? There's tools in there. Sorry. Um, we'll have to find out what they did, but yeah, they've been doing it for quite some time now. So
Yeah. Who are those guys, by the way? I might know them. Who are those guys?
Mod City.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, those guys are heavy on the policies and pushing levers, right? So most likely they would have spoken. And yeah, they do a lot of variances and stuff like that. They do a ton load of those stuff. Like all
Yeah,
in fact, I think all their projects like basically have gone through variants.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. But they've been successful with all of them.
Yeah,
So
they have seen success, and they know quite a few people. Like, well, I should say quite a few people kind of in support with what it is they're doing. So, and they're getting that city level support, I would say. So, but with that said, yeah, I seen some things they did, and honestly, I would probably say like why do that? Right? Like why go through the headache of is this just a committee of adjustment like scheme or something? Like what's going on? Like why are we even asking for like, 2% height increase or reduction on side yard? Just shrink the building and move forward, like
Yeah,
that's how I always try to approach it that way because most of the clients that I'm working with too, just keep in mind, mostly as of right, they don't understand, some of the nuances, but I will always present this to you, okay, my friend? I'll always present to you as of right, and I'll let you know what I think we could do that will give you a higher and better use, and what are the potential headwinds we can encounter going down that path.
that's what we
Um,
want. That's what we want. We're on the same page there. I think
mhm,
like part of it, we also have to make sure we're going to achieve the rents we need in order to make the pro forma work. So like
mhm.
we are aiming to be like above 1,000 square feet in most of these units, with like 3 beds, maybe plus a den and at least two
Hmm.
bathrooms, like 3 beds
That's aggressive, man. You want to be above 1,000 square feet per unit?
per unit. Yeah.
That's aggressive. I know it's aggressive, 100%. Like the maximum we're seeing, even with a, you can remember these lots are like these buildings are maximum. Like even on a single detached property, you're looking at like 19 meters by 5 meters, right?
Okay.
And you still need to have staircases in there. In most cases, we're still trying to get out to like so efficiency wise, like we're not getting that on all those units, right? You may be able to get it. So I would like to be real honest, and obviously I'll have to workshop an actual
Yeah.
project, and
Yeah.
we'll see how we can make that work. And I think what it is, the good thing about what it is we're trying to do here is that we'll help you come up with a strategy that is long term. So the
Exactly.
first project we work on, it may take slightly longer because we're going to try to iron out as much details, understanding exactly what it is you want, and then taking that to the city and attempting to get that certified. Whether that means it's a single staircase design or a
Yeah.
design with plumbing, fire separation, whatever sprinklers and so forth, whatever we decide is kind of the thing that you believe you can replicate within a certain price point. That's what we're going to try to do on our first design, and we'll just keep ironing that out. But
Perfect.
the whole idea is to try to get that certified by the city,
Yeah.
right?
Love
And
it.
because you're doing.
Yeah, we want to just copy and paste over and over, right? Like that's the goal. I think like even one of our partners were talking about like being able to do something where it's only one staircase between both semi-detached properties via an easement. Like there was
Oh,
like there's
okay, okay, I got you. Okay, okay, I can see how that can work. Yeah, it's kind of no,
like one
that's where you
interior,
get
one
that's where you
inch.
get
Yeah, go ahead.
you see, so that was actually just changed, right? So that bylaw just changed to allow you to do more than three dwelling units on a semi on each half of a semi-detached. So there's a semi-detached building, and
Yeah,
then you have two semi-detached dwelling units. Each of those dwelling units could not contain more than two because once you get above five, then you had to basically
apartment building. Yeah,
it's an apartment building.
yeah.
So they just changed that, and with all the whole terms with houseplex and all this other stuff. So essentially, by what it is your partner is suggesting,
Is an
that's a
apartment building.
good cause for the city to say, okay, now it's an apartment
Yeah,
building,
yeah, yeah.
right? So let's go back right back into that same bucket there,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So we want to be creative. We want to push the boundaries, but we want ultimately we want to do it at least path of least resistance. But we need to make sure that the properties have enough bedrooms and bathrooms. Like they have to be a minimum of 3 bed, 2 bath
Mhm.
for the pro formas to work. There's no way around that. And so we'll have to figure out a way to make it work. Uh,
I can show you examples of that. So the best properties for this application would be not semi-detached, detached homes. On semi-detached homes, we always end up with less efficiency because all the beds have to be chopped on one side of the property because we're really limited because that party wall, you can't have any windows there, right? So
right.
now you end up using just the one side of the property, and it reduces efficiency. And remember, those semi-detached lots are also very slim. So it's good to know these things, by the way. And as we begin working together, I'll be documenting a lot of this. and also helping you select the sites that can deliver on these from the onset. So
Perfect.
this way we aren't having lengthy conversations about things that aren't going to work or things that are going to essentially add 3 or 4 months to your timeline, right?
Perfect. Love it. Yeah. And you know what? Like sometimes it's worth the 3 or 4 months added, depending on what it is. But we
Yeah,
that's an
that's
ideal
right.
time. Yeah. So
And I should also just add here, so I'm very familiar with the how like so I review performers all day, like no, not all day, but a lot. And so I'm very familiar with what makes things work, and that's what actually informs our design, right?
great.
So we're not just I'm in a unique situation because when I look at a property, I look at the highest and best use, so I look at the land use. Then I look at the interior layout and whether that can actually be done. Then I look at the construction standpoint from a value engineering and budget standpoint, like how much is going to cost, like order of magnitude quotation, right? Like what is this thing going to eventually cost? Because that's what also allows me to price my design services, right? So
Yeah.
this is important. But then also I also take into account the numbers, like what's the unit mix going to be? What's the demography here? Is my client actually taking these things into account? And do they have the right people that is on their team? Are they speaking with a realtor or a appraiser that's helping them out with these numbers? This is extremely important, especially when you're talking about, meeting some type of threshold in terms of your returns, right? So once you have that button down, I feel much more comfortable because I don't feel crazy when I start mentioning these things to you and you start saying like, oh, what are you talking about? Like we can't. So
Got it.
very important.
Okay, so maybe now's a good time. Like, listen, I reviewed your video was fantastic. Would love to see more of those for like all the properties we're looking at. I'm excited to
Mm,
have that as a service that you offer. No one else
mm,
has done something like that, which I really love. I think it takes you time to do it, but it's a great value add.
mm.
So I appreciate you doing that.
Thank
Um,
you.
would love to talk pricing with you.
Mm,
We are predominantly looking at groups that are like do the whole package together. We have many planners and architects that are individual and that I'm gonna have to bring together and coordinate and whatever.
yeah.
But I see less value in that. I see more value in paying a bit more for someone who's a one-stop shop because then there's less room for error, especially on my part, anyways. If you're doing all the coordination and handling everything, then it's better for me. I just send it over to me when the permits are ready. You know what I
There's
mean?
better accountability here too as well, and coordination is more seamless for sure. Yeah.
Exactly. And then like, if someone says something and then I pass it over and say something else, then it's my fault. And I'm like, I don't want to be in between these things. I want it to be on your side. So, and I'm not an expert on in your field,
Mhm.
and I know I'm not going to be the best in it. So I just want to hire the best, and then I want to be the best in what I do on my side on the building
Yeah.
side.
No,
So.
that's a good way to think about it, my friend.
Yeah. So we have like a few people who have submitted quote packages for their pricing. We're kind of like narrowed down to the top three of who we're looking at. You are in the top three. Your pricing has come in higher. And so I wanted to discuss with you like what this looks like if we were to maybe do something exclusively with you. We're planning a bunch of these. We have this one under contract already, the one that you did the video for. So we are planning to move forward on that one.
Mhm.
And we have a few more that our offers are out and we're waiting for responses on. So like bigger picture, we're planning to do 20 to 25 of these in our first year.
Yeah.
Obviously like acquire the lands for them and
That's ambitious, my friend. I gotta say kudos to you for the
thank you,
ambition
thank
on
you.
that one. Yeah.
Well, we have uh you know, we have a publicly traded company that's backed us and committed
Oh,
$100 million
really? Okay.
to do this.
Okay,
So
got you.
we have the backing to support it. We have the teams around us, but we're building this internal power team right now. So we're gonna
Got
do
you.
it. There's no
Yeah.
question about it.
Okay,
I
wonderful.
think there's many lots, and as Toronto loosens their like restrictions further, then we'll have even more lots to buy. So
Yeah.
my daughter's yelling in the background, but
I can't
um,
hear anything. Yeah.
oh, okay, perfect. Okay, great. So, what can we do about pricing? And then also, like, I have some concerns in regards to what's not included in it. Like, I'd have to go now and source, like what these costs are going to be. So talk to me about pricing and then the list of things that aren't included and where we can go from there.
Well, maybe I should say first, maybe preface this by saying we certainly aren't the cheapest,
Right.
right?
I'm not
But
looking.
I'm but I'm also open, and cheap maybe is not the word we
No, I hear you.
because
I hear
we
you.
offer the value. We know we offer the value, but with that said, I'm always open to negotiation. I think in every relationship, especially one that we're thinking of long term, everybody got to feel as they win, right?
100%.
And I'm all about creating that winning sort of environment. With that said, I'm open to discussing what it is, what would work, but within the confines of what's actually required here, right? Like there's a lot. And because I've done a number of these, I know like these things, there's so much involved. Now, with regards to what's not included, I feel the biggest thing, and there's a lot that we mentioned that's not included. A lot of it is not even necessary on projects of this scale. You will not need an electrical engineer.
Okay.
There's probably in no case would you ever require a what's it called, an annunciator and a fire alarm system on your building. Like this is not something that you would require.
Right.
Right, so this is something that we don't include. As far as one of the other major things that we do have on there that we actually don't include is a survey. Um,
I don't expect survey to be in your
yeah,
costs.
a topographic survey, that's something that we don't include. That's sort of the other major thing. And the grading and drainage, the other component to the topographic survey is the grading and drainage and servicing plan, right? We have all those resources partnered with us.
I understand.
However, some cities are very different. Like every city is different. These costs are different. For example, and the reason why we don't include that, I'll be really clear, is that if you're building new, in most cases, the city will want to know what it is you're building. They'd want to size that and make sure this is whether this additional suites that you're building is actually in line with their infrastructure and so forth. And they will determine whether they have to upgrade it. And if they have to, then our drawings may have to reflect some additional servicing that is not typical, right? So if it's something that you are open to discussing, I can certainly throw that in there, but we have to kind of have a cutoff as to where it is we are not going to like look at. You know what I'm saying? Anything on the public side, we're not going to look at, right?
And
Mhm.
no, like the planning justification letter, I thought would be an easy one that would have been included in the planning.
Mhm. Yeah, so a planning justification letter, I would say, you see, maybe I should say this, like what we're looking at doing here is as of right applications.
Yeah.
We don't need a planning justification letter. Sure thing. I can certainly put that in there. It's not a problem. But because we're going as of right, I don't want to leave confusing messages in there. It's like if we're sending an application in for an as of right permit, we don't need a planning justification letter. However, if for example I say, okay, planning justification letter is included, well, for what? For what
Right, right,
reason?
right, right.
Right?
Yeah.
For what reason are we having that in there? Now, if we say, for example, like we're doing a severance, we don't need a planning justification letter. However, if we're doing the severance and I realize like, oh, we have a small variance, and by the way, small variances under 10% that you probably know is going away,
Yeah.
right? We're just waiting on the regs to come out on Bill 17. But once that happens, anything under 10% or within 10% of the effective provisions, we basically are as of right. So again, no problem. I would just, if you like, you can just scrape that off and say, please include or include. Like, and that's no problem because again, I just didn't like you can see it's two different message in there, right? It's
I
like we're
understand.
as of right, but we're saying planning justification letter for what reason, right?
And then like the roof truss engineering, that wouldn't be done by your team either.
So roof truss engineering is something that we actually do that on all our projects, right? What I guess what it is I want to say is more specifically, one time we worked with a client who wanted roof trusses done in steel. And we're like, well, we don't like that's like not something
Hi.
we do. Like that's
That's
like a
crazy.
full like that's something else.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll say rough trusses and let's say heritage engineering, like that sort of stuff, like that's outside of what we're
Yeah.
talking about here. But on our, for lack of a better word, we put trusses, but we would include a truss spec on all of your projects. So you'll get your TJIs, you'll get your LVLs, you'll
Yeah.
even like all your stick framing. Like we
Yeah,
spec
because
all
I
of that,
I
right?
don't want to have to like
Mhm,
listen, I'm not. I'm not a know-it-all. I don't know what I don't know. And so what the scenario I want to avoid is I want
Mhm,
to avoid signing, a deal with someone to like kind of run forward with this and then look at this list, say, like I think roof trusses should be in it. I think this should
mhm.
be in it. And then I'm not thinking about like
No,
let me
I'm
get
glad
this.
you
You
called.
know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for to sign a deal with someone where I can
Yeah,
have fixed cost.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the easiest way to describe it.
That's right. That's
I have
right.
investment partners. I need to be able to go back to them and say, look, here's what the pro forma looks like. Here's what the costs and expenses are going to be. And
Hmm.
we have a
Hmm.
relationship with this planner and this architect firm, and this is how much our costs are. I don't want to have to go back later and be like, guys, I forgot to add in, we also need this one thing designed and this piece here. And then like, we're 20, 30, 40, or even 5,000. I don't even want $5,000 extra. I want to be able to know all my expenses on the design side at a scalable cost. I want to know how much per unit I'm going to be paying where I'm building, as long as it's this style of build, like period. That's my goal.
That's good because so let me give you an example here. I'm just downloading it right now. So what you will get on all our projects. So we work with a supplier. You probably know the supplier. It's called the Turkstra, right?
Yeah,
So we work with them. We on every new build we do, we actually invite them to actually look at our project and provide us with a robust package. This is a robust framing package for the project. And then we send you that quote as well as the stamped engineer drawing that is associated with that. And you
right,
might be saying like, this is not special to your project. This is required by the city. You
right,
have to do it at this time or you have to do it at the time of inspection. So we provide this to you, and obviously your construction manager would then vet this and work with the supplier to iron out any details. But this is essentially what it is you would get. You'd get truss joints. Not all projects would have trusses. Some again, we remember I in that quote I also talk about value engineering.
yeah, yeah,
So in some cases, value engineering may mean stick framing, right?
right,
And that's what we're going to be doing. But we still always get this and we'll provide you with the option and say, look, I would suggest you go with this. I would suggest you go with trusses. I would suggest you go with TJIs so we can have clear spans, no beams and so forth post. And I'd give you those optionality as we go through the process. But this is what a standard truss package would look like, right?
right.
And of course, so all this stuff is in there. This is what they're building. This is what you're ordering eventually to put on your building or your construction manager is ordering, right? And I also should note that it's good. We are starting to, when I work on projects with individuals, like meaning, a homeowner reached out to me, they want to do a fourplex, sixplex, whatever. We always invite one of our trusted contracting partners onto those calls because many owners don't know what, like even what I just showed you there. They're like, what is that?
Right.
Right? So we want to make sure there's a builder on the call that they're building a relationship with. Why am I saying this is like in your case, you obviously may have already selected a construction manager, someone who's running that arm of the business, and I welcome them to be on all the calls and vet everything we're talking about. Because
Right.
in some cases, I may say, hey, you know what, guys, we're specing a three-ply LVLs, and the construction manager, procurement manager, they may say, well, man, LVLs are like 4 months out lead time. Like we can't do that. We have to go with steel.
Right.
Something so, right? So this is a really important part of the value engineering conversation that we like to have.
Understood. Okay, great. All right, that makes more sense. So,
So trusses, just so you know, trusses, I just showed
right,
you like this is what the truss package that we send. You're getting that is required by the city. It's just that if you say you wanted some special steel truss system for some, like we aren't, that's not included in what we're doing, right?
understood.
Mhm.
Got it. Okay, that's perfect. Okay, so I mean, I think we're on the same page there. And then in regards to pricing, how can we be more aggressive knowing that there's scale here,
Mhm, mhm,
um, and be more competitive? Because what I need to make sure I'm doing is offering competitive pricing to my investors, right? So,
mhm, mhm.
um,
Well, I don't like bidding against myself. Like that's
yeah,
that's the one,
I love that.
right? But with that said, he has it's like, oh yeah, like I'll do 25 lower. Like I don't know, I don't even know what, but here's the thing. Here's what I do know. I can tell you this. I know my cost. I know
Okay.
my cost. Like I can show you a detailed breakdown of my cost. Like I this, even though it appears as one price, it's a detailed breakdown on my back end. I'm looking at how many man hours we need to put in from a design standpoint, what's on my engineering team. I've estimated a number of these, so I know exactly what my costs are. And we have also applied a, I want to say we applied a discount, a volume discount, because we anticipate there will be volume on these.
Okay.
And what is not mentioned in there is that this is our first project. There will be a lot of unknowns. And
Yeah.
while you might say, like, Ron, why am I paying for the unknowns? Well, somebody got to pay for it. And that's usually you, right? So, like, sorry,
Great.
man, that's just what it is, right?
Great.
But with that said, as we iron out the process on the first project, and why am I saying this? Is because with your particular project, we are going to, I think I mentioned this to you before, we're going to be creating systems that are going to kind
Yeah.
of address all the things. This is going to take a little more time to sort of evolve. We also going to be creating, I keep saying this, and maybe you're getting the significance, maybe not. But we're going to try to create certified drawings that can be replicatable. Once
Yes.
we
Once the
get to
city
that stage,
certifies them, then we can use them over and over without
you
having.
can use them over and over. There's still a level of engineering that still has to go
Yeah.
in. There's little tweaks, but for the most part, it will be pretty much standardized. At that stage, I will revisit our price point. So if you bear with me, I will revisit our price point and say, okay, you know what? So I'm no longer having to put in 40 man hours like on this stuff here. My team doesn't have to, or whatever the case is, right? So we can strip that off, we can reduce that. And why don't we just say, you know what? Here's the certified plans plus a fee, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what is plus engineering or whatever that might be, right? And that way you have your system a bit more worked out and ironed out. And we're going to have a lot more back end systems running to make sure those checks and balances are always there so you understand, what's changing on each one and and how that affects pricing or not, right?
Okay. Yeah. I think that makes sense. From where will end up being. Um, from where we're starting, we've gotten everything from like 6,500 a unit up to, roughly like 9,500 a unit would be like the
Mhm,
upper. You're right around that 9,000. Uh,
mhm,
you're in like 9,500 a unit ish. Uh,
mhm,
I we're not considering the 6,500. I think that's like crazy low,
yeah,
and we would 100% assume
that's
something's going to be
escalation.
missing for sure.
Mhm, yeah.
So I don't expect you to be there, but like if we can land somewhere in the middle, like I think it would make more sense for us. Um,
Well, okay, well, here's why. I don't like to, I'm not a hard sell here at all, man. I would like to partner up with you. I mean, maybe my question would be to you. So you said 20, right? You said 20. Is this something you're willing to commit to? Because that is I run a business, right?
of course.
And obviously, having certainty, everybody wants certainty. No, everybody wants certainty, but with Trump, that's impossible, right? That is very
Yeah,
difficult. Nobody knows what the hell is going to happen in next week, right?
that's right. That's right.
But
Right.
but with that said, though, if you can give me some level of certainty and say, hey, Ron, you know what? We're going to be doing 20 of these. I trust that you can deliver 20, maybe a portion of these. If you give me some certainty and you say, hey, I'm willing to do a master contract with you, I can sharpen my pencils for sure
Yeah,
and meet you where it is I know, because now I can actually have some certainty with my team, and I can also have certainty with my suppliers as well. When I say suppliers, my partners,
of
and let
course.
them know, look, guys, like I'm going to be doing this. This is going to be priority. I need you guys to drop everything, get this done. Let's work together as a team on with this client. So yeah, so I might be asking you while you're saying to me, hey Ron, you know what? You need some certainty or some more reduction in pricing. I'm okay to do that, but I'm willing to do that. No questions asked, provided I can get some certainty in terms of projects that are
Okay.
going to be allocated towards our team.
Sure. I would say that once we prove our process with you, I have no problem giving that allocation. I would be hesitant to give that to anybody, no matter their pricing, until
Mhm,
we say, you know what, we've done one. You're the person we're going to stick with. Everything
mhm,
went well. You know, We still love you. You still love us. Cool. Happy to sign like
Yeah,
an
yeah,
exclusivity with you over the
yeah, yeah.
next course of whatever projects. Yeah, because ultimately, you can imagine how much more work it's going to be for me having to find someone new after the first one, and how much more work it's going to have to be explaining the whole situation of what we want and building up a relationship. So my goal is to my goal is to enter into a relationship with someone who can perform these things for me once and then have a very fruitful, long lasting relationship after, for sure.
Okay, well, as I say, like I'm, you know, I'm all about trying to build out a business here.
Yeah.
You're saying so you want to do so on this particular project. We're coming in at what's that, 100? Like no taxes here. It's like what,
You're
100?
129 at 12
Mm-hmm.
units, so you're just over 9,000.
Mm-hmm.
You're 9,700 something.
Divided by 12 units or 14 units? Mm,
Sorry, you're 14. You're 14. So you're 129. And I have to decide if I'm going to do these
garden suites.
gardens. Yeah, you're 129 divided by 14. So you're at
Mm-hmm.
9,200 a unit
Mm-hmm.
ish. Um, and like our
And you're coming with with the survey, topographic survey. So
I
you
mean, I'd
have
like
do you have surveys? Are you gonna prepare those surveys? Am I just expected to, because again I have all this team available, right? Is this something as part of your agreement that you're working with, or this is something like you're just saying, Ronald, we decide to work with you, you handle all of it.
I think I would prefer to just say, Ronald, we're working with you. You handle all of it. Like to
Yeah,
me,
sure. Mm-hmm.
more accountability on you is better, obviously.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and then this way you know and can control what you're delivering.
Yeah, yeah. No, so by the way, this is the only way we work, by the way. But as I say, just as I mentioned earlier on survey and servicing plans, this is something that we don't include, but
Right.
right now our price is at 92, 9,002. Let
So
me let me take a look at it and see,
okay.
because I guess, yeah. Let me take a look at it and see I'll have to talk with my surveyor, find out timelines and find if I can add survey into it, which in essence, I'm just going to absorb that cost of the surveys, right? And as you know, a topographic survey is on these sites is it's like 7,500, right? Almost 75
Yeah,
each,
exactly.
right? So yeah, so with that said, like let me see if I can actually do that. And if I could in fact deliver on that, then you know, that would mean
We're targeting somewhere under 8,000, above 7,500. Like that's our target. Like 7,500 was our original target. We think that's a bit too light for the service that we're looking for. So we're targeting like if I'm just gonna put all my cards on the table, like in a perfect world, we're targeting something around $7,800 a unit
mhm,
and scaling at unit. So more units, more, it goes up. So I don't expect an answer from you now.
mhm.
Take it back.
When are you guys deciding to move on this? Like
We
if
need
I
to
were to
move.
tell you I can do $7,500 now, like would you say, okay, Ron, let's go? What's the process? Who's making the decision? Who are we adding? Who are we bringing to the table to
Great
help with that
question.
decision?
There's two other people. So Jordan is my only business partner that I have.
Mhm.
Andrew is like a junior partner at our firm.
Yeah.
So these two guys will be heavily involved in that decision.
Okay.
Jordan is, I mean, like I'm basically making this decision.
Okay,
This is
got you.
my role in it. But I never want to pull a trigger without these guys. And then in terms of timeline, like we got to be moving quick. We already have this property under contract. Coxwell's under contract. We have limited time with it before we have to either shit or get off the pot, for lack of a better
Yeah,
word.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Got
So,
it. Got you.
so yeah, we need to be moving
Mhm,
already on it, and then once we firm up on it, then we have to be way ahead of the game on it. We want to move fast. So we haven't. I have a presentation tomorrow with my investment partners on this property.
So okay, so just so you know, if I did 75, if I did 70, let's say 7,800, right?
Yeah,
That's kind of like your,
I think
that's
it's
what you're
fair.
saying is your max there. Then we did at 14. That's like $100,000 for those 7 units.
14 units. Yeah.
And yeah, that would not include any surveying. I would have to let you know what the survey cost or estimate comes in at, and probably I'd be more comfortable with that. And I know, so with that said, yeah, let me look at it. I'll look at it. I'll get back to you by tomorrow.
Great.
Let me just run these numbers again. At that price, we're essentially taking off like about 20 grand off the top there,
It's
right?
exactly 20,000. Yeah.
Hmm, hmm.
It's exactly 20. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then and then, yeah, I think we should spend some time, like, if this is going to work between us, we should
Mhm.
spend some time really diving into like the premise of what we're after. I would love to book a meeting with you and Andrew, who's our junior partner, to kind of show you the underwriting that we have, just so you can get an understanding like what we need to achieve to make these make sense. And that will
Exactly.
probably give you a better idea of what you need to create. So, and like the hoops we'll have to jump through to get there.
Okay, fair enough. Fair
This
enough.
week.
Okay. So as again, what's your timeline for making this decision? I think you mentioned about the property, Coxwell. I will say I look at dozens of these for
Yeah.
investors all the time. I don't disclose other people's projects and properties, right? But with that said, there's lots of properties that have potential, but this one I will tell you is a very unique opportunity you have here on this one. There's few that have as of right severances like this.
Wonderful. Great. Okay. Well, I mean, just to be honest with you, like this is why we acquired it.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
I wasn't thinking the triple severance, but we always do the lot measurements to see what's on that block specifically to give us
Yeah.
an understanding. Like there has to be a lot that it will be smaller or equal to what ours would be severed. That's how we know if we'll have a good go at this with precedent or not. So anyways,
And again, like there's more options there, my friend. Like we haven't talked about, like I gave you my as of right, like I would for anyone else. This is
yeah,
not something you listen, you're a special guy, but my service is across the board, same for every client. Once I know you're serious, I look at the property and I give you my as of right. While you can do a triple, I will also add here your property is located in a great lot on a great zone. You are allowed to do multiple units because so I would say you would likely with a variance be able to do up to 10 units on a parcel there, right?
per severance.
Per severance, yes. Right. So that's that. I didn't mention that because that's not as of right, and that's not as a triple lot severance, but you could do that as well. You're in an R zone. I think it's an RM zone. No, it's an R zone, I think. But you are allowed to do up to that. While the lot, when you sever the lot, you may not have that ability. You would have to ask for an increased amount of density. You will be dealing with smaller units. Again, you'd have to look at whether or not
Yeah,
that drives with your performer and so forth, right? So
understood.
so this is all, but these are the things, by the way. So I am not your designer. Unfortunately, I'm not your designer. I'm your multiplex advisor. Like that's really how I function. Really, I'm trying to pull all of this stuff together and advise your entire team while delivering a product that can actually maximize your returns.
But you will be designing the property.
We do the design work. As a result of the service as the
Yeah,
advisory, we
yeah,
we do all the work, right?
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Going back to what I said earlier on, we do the zoning, land use aspect of it. We let you know what's the best use. We do the building permitting design, all the design and space planning, building permitting application. We do that. We do a what you would call a magnitude of a magnitude estimate essentially of what it is your project would cost. We would give you all this information as we're going through it. We'd help you refine that data as well. And there's a lot of things that I'm not mentioning here that you will just get as a result of being part of the property pathways family, right? Like you would get, like, for example, an estimate that will allow you to then take that to your lender even before you begin getting pricing. Like I'll help you with all of these things, and these things don't come at cost. But if you want to say, when we compress the price down to board, is like basically I have to be cautious now because now we're spending an extra 20 hours doing this. Like we can't really do that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So again, but let's see how the first one goes, provided we work to get on this. Let's see how it goes. I'm an easy person to talk to, as far as things go. And again, trying to form like long-term relationships where everyone wins. That's important to me. But we cover it all for you, my friend. right? This is what we do here. I did show you examples of what we did, right? Like I did show you that, right?
Yeah, yeah, we had the whole thing and the video at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we
Neighborhood. Yeah.
offer the full range of service. I wish I was making this up, but I know hands down we offer a better service than 90% of, I would say 100% of people that are doing missing middle, but I would say about 90% of architectural firms in general. Like I've seen the junk that they submit. Like it's like, man, this is sucks. You know?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay, cool. So think about the pricing.
Mhm,
I got to tell you, like, I'm of the mindset to work with you and your firm.
mhm.
You know, above pricing, my main priority, like I said, like number one priority above pricing is really making sure that these are the suites that they're actually meant to be. Like they are meant to be missing middle. We want them to be for small families. We want to solve a housing problem. Like we want to have thoughtful design, and we don't want to blow our budget on it either. Got to be,
Can I be honest, Evan?
yeah.
Like I want to say this, and honestly, most of the clients I work with, that never turns out to be their most important requirement. I'll tell you, based on my working experience, is two things. One is Ronald, how fast can this get done? Like, is this mean this is going to take an extra 3 months? Like
Yeah,
that, it boils down to whatever price we decide on. It doesn't matter. You is eventually going to come back and say, Ronald, can we get this faster?
yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be one of the most important things. That's going to happen.
That's fair.
Definitely, I know it already,
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
And the second thing that will come, that will actually be the one thing, and this is something that we, once we get it set up, you'll see we set up a space for you where it is I would not suggest that you put your investors in there because it's going to be detailed.
Right.
I would not suggest that you put anyone in there that doesn't care about the details, but I create a space where it is I communicate with you, my team communicates with you in there about the pertinent information on your project, and you get the timelines. You'll see a communication plan will be in there. It will have a communication plan, a project plan, and you get weekly updates. That's just me in there working with whoever you put in there for me to communicate with. And so communication is the other thing that I find people always get real unhappy about. They're like, man, it's taking too long, or I don't hear from you in time,
That's
right?
right.
And everything else is kind of like, yeah, the money part is important. I get it. But like if those two things aren't satisfied, I realize things can go sour real quick, right?
Right.
So I am always aiming to meet those two things. And I'm not, again, I'm selling, yeah, I'm a salesman, I run a business, but the reality is this is what it is I actually discovered over doing hundreds of these, right? So
Well, we're gonna put it to the test, man. Like, if you want the future business, it's got to run the way you say it's gonna run. So,
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
the opportunity, I always tell people, like, when we're this close, you're at the final couple here. It's like the opportunity is yours to lose. That's what I tell people, right? Like, so, anyways, I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what you can do pricing wise.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Jordan. I'll talk to Andrew. Might be good for me to introduce you to Andrew and Jordan, but at least Andrew to ask some questions and give some overview of what we're looking for spec wise, like
Yeah.
size. And then that's it. And then like we have one development with Mod City where
Mhm.
they're doing everything on it
Mhm.
on Lambton, and like they're talking about some really cool stuff. But like, yeah, our units are over 1,000 square feet a unit, so I want to see where we can put. I know. I want to see where we can push these buttons and make sure that we're getting the most out of these units. So it'll be
You will enjoy our process, Evan. I'm
okay.
telling
Perfect.
you, you
Perfect.
would enjoy it because we pull the curtains back. We just pull them back. We say, look,
Yeah.
here's how your unit is going to work. This is how it is we are going to do it. Here are three design options where it is the maximum we can get 1,000 if we do this. We
Yeah.
can get 800 if we did this. You
Yeah.
can get this. So we would give you those options. So as I'm saying, like you would be able to clearly see what that is. And as I say, as much detail as you want, you get. But one thing that we really thrive on here is educating our clients. We want to make sure all our clients are well educated as they go through the process. And we do provide you with all the necessary assets, meaning all the 3D assets for pricing, for visualizations, for marketing and so forth. We'll provide you with that stuff. All
Mhm.
of this is not the primary thing, but this is what we do as a result of everything else that we're doing. You're going to be amazed, and I don't want to oversell here of what it is we deliver on, but the reality is we do a solid job. Like we just do a solid job. That's what we do. So
Good. Okay.
awesome.
Think about it. Let me know what you can do. We'll circle back. Let's see if we can get something sorted out this week and then make a decision by mid next week.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, man.
Appreciate you, Ron. Thanks a million.
Take care.
Take care.